Hey everyone, I'm back with just a couple more knives out of my collection here. These three are knives that I bought the blanks for and ended up rehandling myself. The first one here, it's a Helly Harding. Got this from a store in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada called Canadian Outdoor Equipment. If you're anything like me, they have a lot of the stuff that we love. Helly, Mora knives, sorry. Grants fours, Brux axes, saws like Baco, all kinds of cool stuff there. So I would check them out online. Great place. Tim, one of the guys there, great guy. But anyways, Helly blade. I got the little bolt cap here and the bolster, nickel bolster, brass cap on it. And then I've got a piece of antler here that was gifted to me by a good friend of mine named Jeff. So I had the antler for a while. I had the blank actually for quite a while. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it. And I thought, you know what? Let's try an antler knife. So I just drilled it out, epoxy, held it together in a press, sanded it down. Honestly, this is a great knife, this Helly Harding. It is stick tang, so I don't know how much you want to abuse it. I'm not really familiar with the strength of antler handles, so I don't know that I want to be batoning this. I don't know if it's actually hygienic for food or not. Unfortunately, I probably could look it up, but I just like looking at it. It's so darn pretty. Now, it does have wear on it. I have used this knife. It's stainless steel. I believe it's 12C27. Same stainless that Mora uses for their stainless knives. With this Helly knife though, I think it might be differentially heat treated. I did try to square off the spine and it just would not hold a sharp edge. I'd square it off, strike a ferro rod with it, and it would basically chew it all up, so I just smoothed it back out again. Figure this really isn't to be used for ferro rod fire starting so much. But it is really nice knife. My first leather sheath attempt, actually I'm going to grab that. This was my first attempt at a leather sheath, so I thought what better knife to make it for, the one that I just handled. Now, fits pretty well. Actually has a nice click in there. I did mess around with trying to shape it, that's why it looks so beat up. You know, not really the greatest. But the big mistake I made, I put the belt loop on the wrong side. I'm a righty, so unless I'm going to draw it like this, this is just going to be a cautionary tale for me. But I hang on to it to remember where I started. Not that my sheaths are any much better, but at least I remember what my first one was like. Okay, then my next knife I have here is an Enzo Trapper. It's S30V. I actually bought this as a kit from Thompson Scandinavian Knife Supply online. I put it together with the curly birch scales that it came with, and I just found they were way too thin. I just could not get comfortable with this knife. So I ended up ripping those off and then putting in some liners. Now I think I got these liners from not a DVD, maybe, yeah, actually I think it might have been a DVD case or a video game plastic case where I cut the liners from. And then the wood, I can't even remember what kind of wood this is now. And you can see here my rivets, or not rivets, I'm trying to remember what these are called now. It'll come to me. They don't quite line up. This one was an extra hole that I drilled by accident. That's why it's not coming through on the other side. But I'm not really a collector. Yeah, I do have, you know, quite a few cheap knives for the most part. These ones are probably my most expensive ones. But I like to use what I have. So, you know, if someone doesn't like the way that I sanded this or the way that the handle's shaped, you know, again, I took down the beak at the bottom here to make it more of a straight handle, much more comfortable for me. Pretty good knife. I don't know, I just wanted to try the S30V. I don't know that a Scandi grind was the way to go with it because I found this knife chipped like crazy. So now I've actually convexed the edge right at the very edge. Still pretty sharp knife. You know, slices very well. It's not bad. Thick blade, full tang all the way down, so you could probably put it through a lot. I like it. Not really one of the ones that I carry around too much anymore though. But decent little knife. I think that maybe Enzo, their grind might be a little too steep of an angle. I mean, I realize that it makes it a better slicer and cutter, probably particularly with woodwork, but I just think that it's a pretty steep grind, and I've heard about other people having them chip out as well. And then my last knife is just some no-name blank. It's like fake Damascus I picked up at a store in Mississauga, Ontario. I just wanted to try some more handling. I like the look of the blade. Very reminiscent of a Grohmann, which, by the way, Grohmann number 3 boat knife in carbon. I love this knife. It is just comfortable as all heck. Thumb fits in, it locks in perfectly. If my thumbs weren't getting all messed up now from getting old, this would be one of my main knives I would carry. Unfortunately, that's not a comfortable grip for me, particularly with woodwork. But yeah, back to this one. So I've got dyed stabilized burl on it. I've got brass liners in there. I actually saw that on a forum where a guy used brass liners in a Swiss Army knife mod that he did, and I absolutely loved the way it looked. So I figured I would try it out on a knife. Now, I don't know if the steel and the brass, if there's any kind of catalytic reaction or anything inside of there. Not a big concern though. This was just a little test knife for me to mess around with. It's heavy as anything, and honestly I haven't even sharpened it, so it's so-so. Yeah, it's not the greatest, but it looks kind of cool. I've actually promised this to a friend of mine. He saw a picture of it, really liked it, so it's going to be my gift to him at some point when we can meet up. Alright, well, thanks for watching.